Hi everyone, I'm Miss Bush. Welcome back. We're here because emotional health is important too. So we're going to learn something about our emotions today. As promised, we are going to start hearing poems from a new author. So that's something to get really excited about. But we're going to start how we always do with the first skill we learned, our check-in. I'm going to take a minute, check in with ourselves, see how we're feeling. I have something interesting to share with you guys today. I was actually planning on telling you guys that I was feeling this emotion today. Sad. Because when I woke up this morning, I was feeling really sad. But right now, for my check-in, guess what? I'm going to choose this instead. Today, I feel happy. Even though I was feeling sad just this morning, I'm feeling really happy right now. I finally got to talk to a lot of my friends from school, and it was just the best feeling to connect with them and see how they're doing, and just to get to let them know that I'm thinking about them and missing them. So to everyone that I talked to today and the friends that I talked to last night, thank you so much, because you really helped take my sadness and turn it into a lot of happy feelings. So yay, I'm happy to report. Today I feel happy. I am also feeling anxious. Now, anxious is not a word that we've talked about, but we have talked about the feeling anxious. I have said lots of times that I felt worried. Worried means the same thing as anxious, or concerned means the same thing as anxious. When we just feel kind of worried, I feel anxious. I don't know what's going to happen. Kind of just a nervous feeling. I feel kind of nervous. But I also feel happy. So, some good things and some not so good things, and that's how emotions go, and that's okay. So I'm super excited. The next poet that we are going to read some of their work is this guy. This, for those of you who don't know, this is Langston Hughes. And he is a very amazing writer, and he wrote a ton of really, really, really good poems. And I'm so excited over the next couple of weeks to share with you some of Langston Hughes' work. To tell you a little bit about him, since we haven't talked about Langston Hughes yet. Langston Hughes was born in Missouri, so in the South, but when he was going to college and an adult, he moved to New York City. He's a writer, and he's known for kind of like being one of the first people to use a new art form. He called it jazz poetry. So when we read his poems, that's sort of the mind frame he was coming from. He's famous because he's known as being a leader of the Harlem Renaissance. Anybody ever heard of that? The Harlem Renaissance was like this explosion of all kinds of new ideas, social things, and artistic expression that went on, stemming out of the Harlem area, but really expanding across America. And it was an African American it was an expression of African American culture. So those were things that had been left out of American culture, that the African American voice was not getting heard. And so Langston Hughes is really important because he's one of those pioneers, one of the first people who went out there and kind of gave a voice to a different culture. So Langston Hughes, awesome guy. Today's poem is very famous. It's actually called Harlem. Remember, leader of the Harlem Renaissance. So this is named after that part of New York. Harlem is a neighborhood. And so here's Langston Hughes' poem, Harlem. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? So what's Langston Hughes talking about here? He uses a big word. He says deferred. Deferred. What happens to a dream deferred? So we all know what a dream is. Something we want to happen, something we imagine happening. Deferred. Deferred means put off, canceled, save for later. So I found this image that kind of shows this. We got a worker here, a guy, And under this big red canceled sign, it says, follow your dreams, which is something us teachers say a lot. We tell you to follow your dreams. Well, what happens when that's canceled? You know, like, okay, we're supposed to dream. Dreams are good. And then all of a sudden everything's canceled. You know, we're kind of living this right now. I had lots of dreams for this month of April that did not involve sitting in the house by myself. So my dreams have been deferred. They've been put off until later. So Langston Hughes uses a lot of descriptive language. He says, does it fester like a sore? You know, that's kind of disgusting to me. That's the feeling that makes me kind of feel, ew, disgusting. He says, does it stink like rotten meat? I think you can guess that's pretty disgusting too, low gross. And then, to me, this language is really sad. Or maybe it just sags like a heavy load. When I feel sadness, I sometimes feel like a heavy load. You know, like there's weight on me, or like I'm heavy, or I'm kind of dragging along. And then whenever I think about explosions, he also says, or does it explode? It's kind of like, to me, it could be anger. You know, anger is kind of like an explosive feeling. No, you get so mad, you're just like, ah! It's like an explosion. Or maybe even when you're really excited, maybe the positive side of that, I'm so excited. And it's kind of like, boom, an explosion. So I really liked this poem by Langston Hughes because I think that we all had dreams for the second half of the school year that have been deferred or put off. So what is that like? What's the feeling that we feel when our dreams don't work out? You know, what's happening when a dream defers? Because we're living this. Langston Hughes asked a question: what happens to a dream deferred? So ask for yourself, what's happening in you right now that your dreams have been deferred? We'll revisit Langston Hughes' poem on Wednesday and talk about a way to deal with some of these feelings that we might be feeling from our dreams being put off. So I hope you guys are taking care of each other, and I look forward to talking more about Langston Hughes and emotions with you.